and quite the number of things which I have gone over on this channel, and of course would reference few videos while I do justice to the important things. Now, Comic Explained must have fed you all with the narrative of the tribunal, but not quite well. A tribunal has feats, but his feats are impressive, but not impressive for his true caliber. I will mention those feats and then I will actually explain them alongside his lore, but mainly his lore and truly what he is or could be. The first thing here is that he frightens the likes of Doctor Strange in the classic days, who has immense feats under his belt of more than 600 appearances. The Living Tribunal threatens to destroy Earth, which for the most part, people don't get that. It is an impressive feat in Marvel because destroying Earth is as good as destroying the Mother Gaia, who actually is the embodiment of the planet. Now, I was supposed to do an Elder Gods video, but that would be next year. Other than that, check my video. Check my video on Chaos King versus Upside Down Man to know the scaling of Gaia. But just know that a dying Gaia is above the seventh iteration of the multiverse, who himself contains several transcendencies of multiversal to high multiversal beings and hierarchies, which isn't a multiversal feat, but something that is beyond infinite dimensions, beyond non-existence of an existential viewpoint. Also, note that as many times that people have threatened Earth, not many succeed because in all actuality Gaia herself can just kill them or leave the planet, which is unlikely as she is bound to it. Statements from powerful characters who are in celestial tier at least can't do shit to the planet. A lot of high multiversal tier characters fight on Earth and can't destroy it inherently. He was able to show Doctor Strange the very beginning of the cosmos itself, beyond time and space, beyond all dimensions. I need to address this dimension thing because people don't understand difference between spatial temporally bound dimensions and metaphysical higher spatial temporal dimensions. He makes mention of dimensions, netherworld, and fathomless void, which he shows Strange. The major problem for all this is the fact that Strange let Zom go free and affected the balance of the multiverse. For those who don't know Zom, in my recent Sentry vs Superboy Prime video, quite some feats of Zom have been mentioned, have been dropped. Even from these scans, every other appearances of Zom and the ones in the video I just recommended, Zom is a threat beyond eternity and could trash talk the Chaos King before the Chaos King had almost finished destroying 98% of the multiverse. The Living Tribunal states that he is the multiversal judge of the multiverse and was going to seal off that particular universe, and the cosmic abstracts was affected or would die. Now, I just want to say this after mentioning Feats, but please have this at the back of your mind that these abstracts at some point, until I state they aren't with reasoning, are all universal or multiversal embodies. And even as of that, different planes of existence have universes, so I will state the tier and feats. As for this is just the normal universal universe, but destroying the planet itself is a feat greater than several outer and high multiversal layers, as explained severally. Tribunal states that concepts of good and evil are for lesser beings, which includes every form of being of different existential tier caliber, and also says that sorcery or magic is included, which includes the Vishanti, and Vishantis are those who peak and are more powerful than Sorcerer Supremes, which includes the likes of Dr. Voodoo and Classic Strange. Even Modern Strange is relative to people like Zom, and Classic Strange is inherently far above Modern Strange, people make it look like it's a huge gap. But Classic Strange is a threat to people like Shumagarath, who is too powerful that he's on the tier of Galactus and many more, including the likes of Merge Sentry. He can casually summon the likes of the In-Betweener, who doesn't actually have embodies, and the In-Betweener is a duality of order and chaos alongside other concepts. Among all these extremely powerful beings, even the state fourth host has been stated not to be close to Exeter in power. Odin, who is close to the father archetypes, but a very high archetypal being. Yet, all these beings are nothing to the Living Tribunal, of course. The Living Tribunal can easily resist the Phoenix Force from entering back to its host on Earth, which alone is a feat so impressive. The Phoenix Force, which stays with Jean Grey, or the tier of the White Hot Room, which is within the McCran crystal, and that's linked to the Nexus of all realities, which you can check my Man-Thing video, which will be linked, to know what at very least the Nexus of all reality is. Now, this particular feat is something I would mainly be basing this video on towards the explanatory part, and that's the fact that the Living Tribunal is an aspect of every abstract concept put together. That sounded in the reverse, but like all these abstract concepts put together makes up the true form of the Living Tribunal, and in their true forms, not just multiversal embodies. Warlock and Warlock attack the Living Tribunal with the Infinity Stones within this place known as the Realm of Manifestation, and is actually inside Eternity, but one of the peak high multiversal realms within him. He literally made other top embodies of the cosmic abstracts to fly away or move away by just powering up. The Living Tribunal negated the Infinity Gauntlet immediately and gave him judgment, binding him into choosing someone else that can hold such power and sending other abstracts away, returning Adam Warlock to the normal universe. Adam Warlock alone, without any gauntlets, is capable of existing in oblivion. He is an aspect of the true Living Tribunal, which we will get to soon, but he scales to the full, but not true forms of the abstract, which are immeasurable into high multiversal. Adam here isn't as powerful as later on. So this is impressive for him and a good feat for an embody of Living Tribunal, because each Infinity Stone is so powerful that just the Soul Stone is linked to the Man-Thing and dreams of a higher manscape. Make sure to watch my Sleepwalker video to get a good insight on the Infinity Stones. The Living Tribunal shows up within the cosmic axis that lies within the nexus of all realities, and was going to stop this lady that had power of such extent and could rival his power. And of course, this again is an embody. Also check out my Man-Thing video to know what the nexus is, but I will dive a bit on it towards the end. The Living Tribunal placed Protege under Eternity's watch, and this same Protege was battling Beyonder, who is immensely powerful and comes from the Beyond Realm. Within the Overspace, or Realm of Manifestation, Protege was summoned there by the Living Tribunal alongside the Beyonder, who attacked Eternity, but Eternity says that he is made from imagination of belief, which is Jungian archetypes, but that's for another day. And the being holding them a special is a special observer for the Living Tribunal, just as the Watcher is to the multiverse and other abstracts. This being is Skathan, the Approver, and ranks above most, if not all, other Celestials, including Exeter, the Exterminator. After Protege, and to know how powerful Exeter is, check out my Ultra Monitor versus Exeter video will be linked. After Protege tries becoming the one above all, but actually turns into an embody of the Living Tribunal, as you can see visually. The true Living Tribunal just has to give his embody more power, which he did by binding his judgment on him for Skathan, the Approver, to deal with him. In the presence of the living tribunal, distance and time have no relevancy, of course. Dweller in darkness, who is one of the fear lords and the strongest actually by a long shot, he calls the Marvel Universe just the universe he's going to destroy by destroying the McCran crystal within the nexus of all realities, which includes the White Hot Room. All this makes eternity look like a joke. Dweller in darkness yet says his power pales in comparison to the Living Tribunal, and Living Tribunal literally holds the amalgam brothers literally in his hand, giving them cosmic placement. Now, I definitely don't see the Marvel vs. DC comics as canon because neither verses exactly have the same cosmological or cosmology size, no cosmology at all. Also, the two brothers are from Marvel, which means clearly dominion over the other verse, which normally Marvel is far larger than DC but still holds no validation. It stated that his omnipotence and motives are unfathomable to that of eternity, and even his embody stands in same tier as the collector, shaper of worlds, and many more. And that embody is extremely powerful because the shaper of worlds, check my shaper of worlds versus Warforger video, is beyond eternity totally. Like eternity is like a normal human compared to the shaper of worlds. And then the shaper of worlds is still trash compared to the collector, the challenger, those people from the far shore. The Living Tribunal was able to send this Cicineg dude who threatened all realities in eternity. It basically was a threat to eternity. The Avengers, in which each person you see there except Stark, in which Stark can create or go get an armor of such caliber for qualification of ultraversal to high ultraversal levels of power. I think I need to do a Tony Stark video as well. He sent him to a time before this just to master moral values of being a god and a magician. Also set the planet Yan, which is like Fantasor Fu. Yan is a Nixus planet for sorcerers, but Fantasor is a whole universe for such. Now, let's get into the main part of this video. People want to understand what is the Living Tribunal, what could it be, and how does it fare with other abstracts, and also explaining these abstracts. Now, let's go over some few scans of Living Tribunal being the strongest, as many have been shown prior to this. So the Living Tribunal has been shown to actually be that one that owns this realm of manifestation, which abstracts actually come to take shape and form just to interact with other sentient beings below them and even with themselves. And the being that helps with this is the anthropomorpho. Now, this realm of manifestation from the comics gives out physical form across universes, dimensions, subdimensions, and planes of for iteration, as stated, but more detailed. Now, mortals can do this, but only those mortals that are as powerful as abstracts like Galactus, Odin, the gods, celestials, who are even more powerful than abstract beings can do this. Monica Rambeau has done so before, and few others, and people still don't get how powerful Monica is. Then watch my next video, which would be linked below. Yes, when you see certain battles in Marvel that happen in the physical universe, if mortals who have such power excellence can't actually control their power, then they just nuke what their full being can reach out. And that's why you have people like Doctor Strange to deal with them, or even the Living Tribunal. Eternity is stated to be so huge and big that he's beyond the concept of transfinite, which basically means that he's immeasurable in size. That's why he's actually from the immeasurable into ultraversal tier, where the shape of worlds is from, and within him gets to the point of inaccessible into ultraversal. That means that's inaccessible raised to inaccessible. That's what I call inaccessible raised to high ultraversal. When I say infinity into high ultraversal, I'm saying there's just one inaccessible gap, and there's many infinities. Can be infinitely more powerful, and infinitely more powerful does not mean that's an Aleph transcendence, Aleph null to Aleph 1, or Aleph 1 to Aleph null. And then he has up to inaccessible into ultraversal within him. And when I say inaccessible, I'm saying inaccessible into high ultraversal means inaccessible raised to power inaccessible. Right. While normal infinite to high autoversal means inaccessible, just normally inaccessible transcendence, and no matter the amount of infinity transcendences, doesn't inherently mean, right, unless it's really shown to be an Elif distance or stated, or the cosmology naturally works like that, just like Marvel's. Which I've said before, and will drop a scan or two. Beyond the physical multiverse in eternity, as you keep going, the multiverse is infinite transcendent, and that's the reason manifestations exist. And by the way, immeasurable is higher than inaccessible transcendence, which is basically something infinitely, continuously unquantifiable. And every form of eternity until a certain point, which I would bring up, are just manifestations within his true self. Now that the manifestation part has been touched upon, how about we move to the nexus of all realities briefly, as promised, but mainly the McCran crystal. The McCran crystal can destroy, retain, and absorb all that is. It can create an omniversal wave and can add people to breach the space between multiverses. It is linked to the nexus of all realities. To be honest, I wish I had time to touch up on the Shire Empire and many more concerning this, but I will pass on to my final cosmology video. If you watch my previous videos, then you would get information on this. But other than that, the main thing is this term omniverse, which Marvel has like infinite or that of that, or way less, like 7 or so. But the thing is that for each tier before moving to the next, I give them about 7 to 10. But for like each realm moving on to the next is an omniverse to Marvel, or what they call the outside. But the true omniverse in Marvel is actually the Yggdrasil, to which the McCran crystal is on the tiers of like the neutral zone and those planes at the edge of eternity, like the other world type shit. I remember when I said that it makes eternity look like a joke, but those are like more like multiversal embodies. Still very high into high autoversal. Next thing here is very, very important, and that's Adam Warlock. I plan to do a video on him in the future, but I have to make this quick as possible. Adam Warlock is so powerful that without even wielding any infinity stones, he could exist in a realm beyond oblivion where he wasn't affected. He could exist in a realm beyond oblivion where he wasn't affected by the destruction of the multiverse, this time including things like the far shore from a literal standpoint of codependent laws and cosmological build-up over the years. Adam Warlock also has challenged the embody of the Living Tribunal. He has been to places like the Manifestation Realm. He has been to places within the true nexus of all realities. He was able to take out embodiments which exist on the tier or in the realm of manifestation, which I am still trying to see if it is the same as the overspace. But he used a swing of his hand to get rid of them in a lower but yet still high into high autoversal forms. This is why I don't like Jim Starlin or Thanos. His shit had to be corrected in Ultimate Now See. This dude kept on calling TLT Tribunal, the Living Tribunal, embody, and that of Adam Warlock to be universal embodies, but yet talked about being above several realities, especially when they called it infinite dimensions. No, I think he created up the negative zone. And after he destroyed the multiverse, he created up the negative zone as shown in the scans, which is just high 1B. This is why I hate getting involved with Thanos things. Also, above all others shown here is a manifestation of the actual above all others, whose realm is the house of ideas. Now, how about we touch up on the abstract themselves? So to be honest, I actually planned separate videos for all these, but I do have an eternity explanation video which you do need to check. Now, eternity is that which encompasses all from high 1B realities to that of 9 peak high autoversal realities. As you must have seen in this video, eternity has barely also shown a true form, and the only times we see his true form are shown in my Never Queen video, which would also be linked below. These forms show his forms show 99 99% are just avatars, which come in several sizes and power. Same for every other avatar. Death has been stated to be on par with eternity severally. Just see them like the Endless from DC, because the Living Tribunal has four sides: one of equity, vengeance, necessity, and stranger. The abstract of equity are those that balance morality and immorality to share similar fates like Galactus and Stranger. Then vengeance are those who represent the end of something like chaos, death, and oblivion. Necessity is what must be, like the iterations which are existence itself, and for creation to be, you also need order. All are important as much as they are codependent. Now, death and oblivion are very funny because they hardly ever show up, and the stranger side is just you judging yourself. Now, eternity's true form exists on the immeasurably into high multiversal tier, but I don't inherently call this his true form. But his true form is that which he is paramount to, and that's the Never Queen. Because of what? That's necessity, and nothing truly dies. And that's why iterations exist, and all that is further. And all that is further to the above realm of the Never Queen, who is responsible for such existence. But that's something you get in full for so check the description below for the Never Queen video. Death has been rivals to eternity a lot, and from death you get to oblivion. Actually, death is meant to be the end of all, but also that's oblivion. They are kind of the same but not. Oblivion is also that which all creation stays in, as he is the void, and when it all ends, then everything returns to him. Then he would remain, but there are actually a decent amount of concepts that are beyond true concepts that are above him. Oblivion has been proven above eternity because of his aspects like Mikabashi, which I would link that video as well. Oblivion exists beyond the Shaper, who is beyond eternity's true form. That's not his true form. Now, the Never Queen being above oblivion is something I explained in my Man-Theme video, I guess, which is linked as well. But heads up, the Never Queen isn't above oblivion inherently like people might think, but they are very relative. Also, the Black Winter was shown to be true death. But for now, we will stick with what we know as death. Oblivion isn't still the true darkness, but actually the goddess Nyx. So you see, these beings have concepts beyond them that represent them, as finally at the true top is actually death of death, eternity of eternity, infinity of infinity, and all together. That's why I call the true living tribunal. That's what I call the true living tribunal. And yet, that's not the judge of all judges. What do I mean? Death of Death has been shown already in this Jane Foster storyline, where an aspect of the Living Tribunal came as Death of Death, which was going to kill True Death. Now, that's a facet from a full thing. We have Eternity of Eternity, which hasn't been shown, but from consistent lore would exist as possibly the conceptual space of the House of Ideas. And all alongside Infinity and True Oblivion would just be Nyx, who did threaten the house itself, showing superiority over the conceptual space of the house, which within the house, that space would still be fiction. So yes, this is most consistent, and the true living tribunal form has been indeed stated to never been shown or to have a true form, but can be logically deduced like this, which Occam's razor would deduce consistently. And to further back it up, the House of Ideas is the house of true above all others, which is another aspect of the one above all, but yet the embody of TLT was shown to work for the embody of above all others, which means that this is the best deduction possible for the true forms. So yes, this is the third strongest character in Marvel, and his layers into Boundless. If you found this video informative, please do to like, share, comment, subscribe, and see you all next time. Peace.